want to see you go over how something about. There's many people that aren't voting. It looks like majority is 1, 2, and 4, so we'll do those 3. 1 can be done in Desmos, 2 can be double checked in Desmos, so I'll show that, and then 4 can be done in Desmos, but because we have a graph, we're going to use that, but I will show you how to do it in Desmos as well. Okay, for number 1, if I put all of these points in a table, and I look at all of these, I see that this starts to make a line. It is going through the origin at 0, 0. If I were to count the constant, if it's the same throughout all of these points, then I know it's going to be direct. So if I go from this point to this point, it's down 1 to the right 5. If I go down 1 to the right 5, again, I do end up at that point. If I do it the other way, up 1 to the left 5, this would make a line. So it is direct. And then it asks to state the correct, determine the type and then state the correct variation of the equation, which are in y equals kx. Your constant would be y equals negative 1/5 x. And if you were to type that in, they should overlap all of your points. So y equals negative 1/5 x. So use your points. If you were doing this algebraically, you would divide y by x, and then these 3 would give you negative 1/5, but this one would just tell you it's going through the origin. Questions on that one? For number 2, if we are combining like terms, distribute the 2, distribute the 3, so we have 2x minus 6y minus, 12x plus 3y plus 6x, and combine all your like terms. So 2x minus 12x is negative 10x, negative 10x plus 6x is negative 4x. And then negative 6y plus 3y is negative 3y. If you were to check that in Desmos, you could use the variables given, but capitalize everything. This would work faster for you because you would just be typing it in. If I add in sliders for everything, change them to 2 different values, it doesn't matter what they are, and then put in my final answer. Negative 4x minus 3y. The decimal should give you the same thing, and that should tell you you got that right. Yes. questions on that? Okay, and then the last one is asking for the equation that passes through this point and has a slope of negative 3/2. So if I were to graph the point for -1 and use my slope and go backwards, go up 3 to the left 2, I'd end up on the y-axis, and then I could write my equation from there. Y equals -3/2x plus 5. So if you use the graph, you could just say use the graph. But if you were to put this into Desmos, if I put in the point and then typed in y equals mx plus b, added sliders, changed my m to be -3/2. Then I can either hit play or move the b value until it goes through that point. So then your equation would be y equals -3/2x. Questions there? I had up there, take out any JLabs that needed initialed. I only got emails from one person. Did anyone else do JLabs but forget to email me or thought they emailed me? Okay, I was just making sure. Take out your SOL A.4c-5b. I know I checked it already. We're going to go over it. Or at least take out a piece of paper to write down the answers. So once you have it, go ahead and start writing this down. 4c was your literal equations. Yes. Go look on that back shelf. At the bottom, to the right, keep going to the right. And the front page should say something like SOL A1. Right, so 4c was your literal equation, solving for a variable. There is a way to do this in Desmos, but these ones it didn't like it because of the capital letters or the equals or something. I did try it in Desmos, but it didn't work well with the sliders. But you're trying to get the variables by itself. So I'll talk through this. For 18, we're solving for h. There are two h's inside the parentheses. So to get rid of the 1/2 first, multiply by the reciprocal on both sides by 2 so that it disappears. And then this, normally we see something like this and we distribute the h. Well, here we already have an h twice. We're trying to pull it out of both. So we undo the distributive, bring the h out, see what's left, put that in parentheses, and then divide both sides by a minus b. So that h equals 2a over 2 capital A over a minus b. And that would be that final answer. 19 is similar. We're solving for A, and we have two A's. Pull the A out, see what's left, put the rest in parentheses. Divide both sides by 3 plus 5c, so that A equals Q over 3 plus 5c. 20, it has a bunch of things about what these mean, but really you just need the equation for the formula. Part A, you're solving for H, so subtract 2b, divide both sides by p. And part B, you're solving for B, so subtract HP, divide both sides by 2. Most of the rest of this section was, you could solve it in Desmos. If you put both into Desmos, you got x equals 7. 22 was no solution. And then you go on to the next page. Was C. 24, x equals 6. 25, x equals negative 6. 26 was B. And then go on to the next page. For F, that was your system's word problems. So you would have had to define two variables. If you're putting it into Desmos, use x and y. And then type in your two equations. 1.5x plus 3y equals 28.5. And x plus y equals 15. Look at where they cross. And then figure out which variable you're looking for, so that the answer was 4. And 29 didn't really need to be solved because it gave you the graph. They put in each side separately and saw where they crossed, which would be at the x value of 2. You could have solved it also. You could also just put the whole thing in and it'll give you the vertical line. 29 was x equals negative 2. And then go on to the next page. Was x equals 2. These first two questions, the first question can't be done in Desmos because properties is something you would need to know. It's asking about which of these are the subtraction property of inequality. That's these three. It's subtracting to both sides. And the next problem is asking, or it's saying there was a mistake made. Which two steps was the error made? Between step 1 and 2, when they distributed, they made this a plus instead of a negative. . 1 And then at the bottom was your inequality. You could have solved this. If you put this into decimals, you have to use x, not y, otherwise I won't graph. If you did put it in decimals, you'd see y is less than or equal to -6. On a number line, that would be a closed circle going to the left. And then go on to the next page. This one you had to graph. If you were using decimals, it would have graphed it for you, and that would have been a dashed line with a slope of -2, y-intercept of 5 shaded below. If you solved it, you would have got y is less than 2x plus 5 with the same things. Just to reiterate again, SOL 5c and 5d is what is due on Tuesday. So make sure you're working through that. I'm going to show these on Desmos, some of these on Desmos, and then talk about the flex day today. As you're working through 5C and 5D, make sure you're using Desmos at home, here if you're practicing. For anything systems related, put those in, see where they intersect. This was the word problem. If you change your variables or make them x and y, look at where they cross, except 28 and 29, you can look at what that solution would be. And then anything that's linear, you can graph, that's inequality, you can graph it and see where that would be. I think I have 4 or 5 of you that need to finish a test, so take a test. I'm going to have you at these 2 tables, and everyone else can be over here. I'm going to get those that need to start a test situated first and then talk about other tests. Before you move, listen. Look at your tests, those that finish, see if you want to retake, and I'll pass out other tests that you may have said that you wanted to retake. If you're retaking, be working on that. If you're not retaking, you could be working on Delta Math, your SOL practice, your JLab. You have plenty of things to be working on, so you shouldn't be sitting around talking or doing other things. Questions on what we're doing today? Oh yes, turn in your church right answer sheet.